All right, in this video, we're going to talk about the relationship between radius, diameter, and area. Let's start with some definitions. The area of a circle is the number of square units it contains. Like circumference, area is calculated using pi. Pi is irrational, meaning the decimals go on forever. Because of that, I like to use the exact answer, which means we're going to leave our answer in terms of pi. We're not going to use the 3.14. All right, let's keep going. The formula for finding the area of a circle is the following. It is pi times radius, or shorthand means area equals pi r squared. Notice that area, the formula for area of a circle, there's only one. When we talked about the formula of finding circumference, we had two. We have one that used radius and we have one that used diameter. But when it comes to area, it's using only the radius. So if a problem gives me the diameter, I have to find the radius in order to calculate the area. For example, if a circle has a radius of 3 inches, its area is found by doing pi times 3 times 3, which is the same as saying 9 pi. Oops. Let me fix this. And then the units are inches squared. Because in reality, this means 3 inches times 3 inches, and inch times inch is inches squared. All right, let's look at another example. This time they're giving me a circle and it has a diameter of 7 inches. Well, in order to calculate the area, I need to find the radius first. Remember, the radius is equal to a half of diameter, or it is diameter divided by 2. So for this example, this radius is half of 7, which means a half times 7, or it's 7 divided by 2, and that's 3.5 inches. So then we can find the area by doing pi times 3.5 times 3.5. And off to the side, we'll do 3.5 times 3.5. And we get 12.25. So then we can finish the formula for finding area, and we can really write it as area equals pi times 12.25, or we can just write it as 12.25 pi, and then don't forget inches squared. All right, let's look at some examples together. Complete the chart for each circle described below. Remember, there's a relationship between radius and diameter. Radius is equal to diameter divided by 2, or it's half of diameter. And diameter is equal to 2 times radius. And then for area, it is equal to pi times radius squared, which is the same as saying pi times radius times radius. All right, let's start with number 1. We are given radius. Now, because I'm given radius, automatically I can calculate the area, and I know that is pi times radius, which is 16 pi inches squared. But let's go ahead and calculate the diameter as well. Because radius is 4 inches, diameter is 2 times that, which makes it 8 inches. All right, let's look at number 2. For number 2, they give us diameter. Because I have diameter, I cannot calculate the area yet. In order to calculate the area, I need radius. So let's find radius. Remember, radius is found by doing a half of the diameter or the diameter divided by 2. So if the diameter is 12 feet, the radius is 6 feet. So now I can calculate area, and that's pi times 6 times 6, which is 36 pi feet squared. The units are squared when we're talking about area, because remember, this is the same as saying pi times 6 feet times 6 feet. And feet times feet is feet squared. All right, let's move on to number 3. This time they gave us radius, which is 1.5 meters. So automatically we can calculate area. So pi times 1.5 times 1.5. So off to the side, we'll do 1.5 times 1.5. And we get 2.25. So that means area is equal to 2.25 times pi. And of course, meters squared. Don't forget to attach the pi, because this is an exact answer. Now, let's go ahead and find diameter. If radius is 1.5, then diameter is 2 times 1.5, which is 3. So that's the same as saying 1.5 plus 1.5, or 2 times 1.5. But either way, it's 3. All right, let's do a few more together. Radius is 11. Well, that means area is pi times 11 times 11, which is 121 pi. Now, of course, if you don't have 11 times 11 memorized, you can just do it off to the side. $121. Now, diameter is 2 times the radius. So that's 2 times 11, which is 22. Remember, when calculating the area, we do not use diameter. We use radius. So if they give you radius, automatically you can calculate area. If they give you diameter, you must find the radius. All right, let's look at number 5. This time, they've given us diameter. I can't do anything with diameter to find area. I have to get the radius. So let's go ahead and calculate the radius. Well, that's the same as saying a half of 0.8 or 0.8 divided by 2. And I get 0.4. All right, so now I can find area. So that's pi times 0.4 times 0.4. So again, off to the side, we're going to do a little multiplication. And we get 0.16. So now we can finish it. In this area, the area of this circle is 0.16 pi kilometers squared. These are exact answers, so we're attaching the pi. Attaching the pi means the multiplication is invisible. Out of the operations addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, multiplication can be invisible. So in between that 0.16 and pi, there's an invisible multiplication sign. All right, so that's the relationship between radius, diameter, and the area. Let's keep going. Now we have some examples and they've given us actual circles. All right, so let's just start with the first set. This time they want circumference and area. Remember, if you see a capital C, that's circumference. If you see a capital A, that's area. So let's remind ourselves, just right here in this space, the formulas for these. Circumference has two formulas. It is 2 times pi times radius, or it is pi times diameter. Area, on the other hand, has one formula, and it's pi times radius squared, which is the same as saying pi times radius times radius. So let's see if we can use these. We'll start with the first three. All right, so we have circumference, and we got to get area. Now remember, this distance right here represents radius. So we know the radius is equal to 10 centimeters. And because we know the radius, we can find circumference and area automatically. The circumference is 2 times pi times 10, which is 20 pi centimeters. The area is pi times radius, which is 100 pi centimeters squared. Now, just to be complete, we can go ahead and find diameter. Remember, diameter is 2 times the radius. So this distance is 10, but all the way to the other edge is 10 plus 10, or 2 times 10, which is 20 centimeters. All right, let's try the next one. Now we're given 4.5. Well, what does this 4.5 represent? It represents the radius. Let me see if it'll let me highlight this thing. There we go. So this is the radius. So radius equals 4.5. Automatically, I can find circumference and area. Circumference is 2 times pi times radius. And this is 9 pi millimeters. Area is pi times radius times radius. So let's do a little multiplication. 4.5 times 4.5. Let's see what that comes out to be. Well, do a little work. And we get 20.25. So this is 20.25 attached to the pi millimeters squared. And then last one, this time, well, like all of them, they've given us radius, 10.3. So circumference is 2 times pi times 10.3. So this is 20.6 pi yards. Area is pi times 10.3 times 10.3. And again, we're going to do a little multiplication. Let's see if I have some room. I can make some room, make it a little better. And we get 106.09. So that means area is 106.09 0.09 pi, but don't forget, it's yards squared. All right, great. I am going to make up an example where they give us diameter. And let's see what we would do. So let's pretend like this whole distance in this example is diameter, okay? So the diameter is 9 millimeters. In order to calculate area, I need the radius, but I can calculate the circumference. The circumference will be pi times diameter, which is 9, and that just becomes 9 pi. That's done. But to get the area, I actually need the radius. Remember, the radius is the diameter divided by 2, or half the diameter, which is 4.5. So area would be pi times 4.5 times 4.5. Now, it just so happened that we just did that, right? And we got 20.25. And I'll, of course, put my pi, and let me add some units. Millimeters for the circumference, but millimeters squared for the area. Okay, so hopefully this has been a very helpful video showing the relationship between radius, diameter, and area. And we got to add in a couple of circumference problems at the end. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.